Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the How Can I Help My Child series. Children need models rather than critics. And in the face of stress, what a child needs in the face of stress and anxiety is your calm presence. This becomes the example that the child needs to follow. Welcome to the How Can I Help My Child series. My name is Mary Beth Chima, and I am the founder of the Parenting Through Mentorship Academy and PTM resources. And of course, I love to add one. I am the proud matron of the Mastermind Circle, a peer mentorship and accountability group where we support young children between ages 6 and 14. We teach them how to stay calm in the face of stress. We teach them how to stay calm in the face of their mistakes. And of course, we have learned how important it is to do this by ensuring that we do not turn ourselves to permanent critics and judges in the life of our children, because we know that more than all that criticism and all that judgment, what a child needs is an adult, a caregiver, a mentor, a support that will stay calm and be a support system in the face of crisis. As I said earlier, this is how children learn, by the examples that we model to them. Today, we're going to be talking about how we can help our preteens, our young children, manage stress and anxiety. So, if you are a parent of a preteen, and you are right here, meaning you're a parent of a child who's about 8, 9, up to about 13, when they just turn teenagers, I still like to think of them as preteens because that phase, a lot of them are still neither here nor there. All right. If you are also a parent of a young child, oh, sorry about that. If you're also a parent of a young child or a parent of a toddler, this is also for you. A parent of a school age child, this show will do you a lot of good. So if you are here right now, if you are catching the replay right now, and you have a friend, you have a family member, you have a loved one, you have people in your tribe, even your church member and your mosque members, who need to be here because they have young children and preteens, because they have children who are toddlers, and they probably even have teenagers who are still struggling with these things that we talk about here. Now, why don't you go ahead and invite them, tag them if you are on Facebook, so that they can be a part of the show. And if you are on YouTube, why don't you share the link with somebody? But remember to start by subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you are not on our YouTube channel, you are missing out, because we have loads and loads of resources right there that will help you on your parenting journey. So if you are with me and you are ready to learn or to get tips and hacks on how you can support your child who is stressed or your child who has reached the point of anxiety, then let's go on. All right. So basically, what is anxiety? Anxiety is what happens when children are stressed or when we are stressed. So anxiety is a result of being stressed. And you know the thing about anxiety, it's actually not a bad thing, because it is your body's way of coping. It is your body's way of saying there is something that is wrong here. So anxiety is supposed to be a signal for you to go back and see and check what it is that is stressing you. So our children go through this process also, because many times as parents we fail to understand, or we are in a place where we are not, what's the word, is it like we fail or we pretend or we just do not know? Okay, I think it's all three of them. There are parents who actually do not really know about these things because they are not in a place where they are learning about these things. They're too busy, right? They're too busy, or they're not in a place where they are learning about these things, or they are just set in their ways. Oh, our parents did this, our parents did that. And of course, they do not know, or you have not allowed yourself in that space where you are looking at what are the results of these things, this template or whatever it is that our parents did? What are the outcomes of these things? Did it produce results? Did it not? Did it do some damage? Did it not? Okay. Is this fulfilling for me as a parent? Am I getting the results that I am supposed to get, not the one that my ego wants to get? Am I helping the child? Is the child becoming a better person for real as a result, of all of this? In the session the day before yesterday. Sorry, we had to cancel the session for yesterday because mommy duties called. I had to be with my daughter in school at about the time we were having the show. All right. And so, okay, you know how we do it. Children come, All right. So I had to be there. All right. So the other day before yesterday, I was talking about the fact that, okay, I've even lost my Okay, so then for yesterday, I was talking about the fact, I think I've lost my trail of thoughts even. I'll come back to it. I'm sure I'll remember as I go on. All right, but let's get into it. So just like we get stressed, our children get stressed also. All right. And of course, they get into that place of anxiousness. They get into that place where anxiety sets in. Now, because we are adults, we are able to trace, or we are able to identify when it is that we are stressed. With the children, they may not be able to identify when it is that they are stressed. Now, another thing is, it could be that you, as the parents, could actually be the one causing the stress in the child without even knowing it. As I said, anxiety will happen when our children are stressed. And that stress is because of a root cause. Now, if that stress is not identified and that anxiety is not supported, or the child is not supported to come out of that place, that place of anxiety, then it can actually lead to bigger things like health issues, like the child being unable to do well in school, like the child having short attention span, like the child being able to operate at the child's full capacity. Now, these are some of the things. Now, for in more severe case, it can actually lead to it can actually lead to mental issues. Yes. Okay. It actually lead to mental issues in the child, or mental related issues, right? How do they call it now? Mental health, it can actually lead to mental health issues in the child. And even bigger, it can actually lead to trauma. Some of the trauma that the child will live with as a child and will live with even after, after this phase of their life. Trauma that will follow the child into their adulthood, follow them into their careers, into their jobs, into their marriages, into their parenting, and trauma that they will live with for the rest of their lives. And the bad part or bad thing about trauma is that it actually inhibits you from becoming everything that you were created to be. Trauma would even lead to illnesses. Yes, a lot of the terminal illnesses that we have, illnesses like high blood pressure, arthritis, obesity, a lot of these terminal illnesses that we deal with much later in our lives could be as a result of all of this stress and trauma and anxiety that we did not deal with when we were younger, or that took or got its origin from when we were little children. So let's look at some of the things that can lead to anxiety. All right, so the How Can I Help My Child series is a program that we put together to answer the questions that parents are constantly asking about their children. I work with children in the mastermind circle. I am an educator, and of course, I interact and work with parents. So I get asked questions all the time. I get asked questions from parents who want to know more. I get asked questions from parents who have made mistakes. I get asked questions from parents who are stressed and are frustrated in their parenting journey. So I get asked all of these questions, and we thought at some point, rather than answering these parents one by one, why don't we put a program together where we can answer major questions that we get? Because we know that parenting is universal. A lot of the challenges that we have, or you have in your parenting, are some of the challenges that I have in my parenting, that the parents in Asia, in Europe, in wherever in the world, parenting is universal. And when children are at a certain age in their life, we tend to see the same kind of patterns and the same kind of trends, come up. So why don't we get answers so that each of us can take the answers that we get and then apply them in our dynamics? And that way we can support our children effectively. But we know, of course, that shows like these, short shows like these, do not do it all. So I always like to implore parents, you need a village, you need a community. You need a parenting support system where you are constantly walking your journey with people that can hold you accountable, people who can share experiences with you, people with higher knowledge. Because let no one lie to you that you do not need a manual to parent. Let no one lie to you that parenting is not a learned skill. Let no one lie to you that you can do you in parenting. If you do you in parenting, then you are limiting your child. Because if you are like me, then you should be raising a global citizen. You are raising a child who is bigger than the space in your home. Your home and what applies in your home is not enough to raise a global citizen, a kingdom giant, or someone who will change the world. So you need to know what is out there that is higher knowledge. You need to know what is out there that are the struggles of other parents. Your child's competition is not the boy in his school. Your child's competition is not just that boy in the neighborhood. Your child's competition is the boy and the girl in Beijing, the boy and the girl in Singapore, the boy and the girl in America, the boy and the girl in that country where education is top priority, and they have created a system that is churning out excellent children. I didn't say perfect, excellent children. So if you're going to limit your child to, this is how my parents did it, hey, they use stick and they wander ahead. If you're going to limit your child to that, then you are not raising, you are not doing all you need to help your child reach their full potential. So there is a need for a parenting community. Come to us and we will refer you to an amazing community that I belong to. I don't run it. I'm not a parent coach in that way. All right. I work with your children. Now, when we have planted you well in the inner circle, where we can, in an inner circle where you need to be learning, then you will bring your children. You have children who are 5 years and 7 months as we speak. Then between that age and age 14, you need to run, and grab a slot in our mastermind circle. The mastermind circle is a solid foundation ground. And I'm saying this with my full chest. Is a solid foundation ground where we help children build the foundation that they need to navigate. We help them develop a solid executive functioning skill. We help children learn how to take the front stage of their own lives. We help them learn to begin to set goals for themselves and achieve those goals. Yes, it is driven by consistency and a high level, and I said effective level of accountability. Our new cohort of the Mastermind Circle starts on the 1st of September. So you are almost late if you have not grabbed a slot already. And the thing about the Mastermind is we can't take beyond a number of people because the vision that we got is for close accountability. All right. We know that at this phase of the child's life, the child needs support and close accountability. So we want to be able to provide that closeness. And then after that, we can graduate them to systems where they can navigate, even in bigger crowds and, bigger, less close accountability. All right. There has to be a foundation period before we can put them in spaces where they can thrive or they can fly on their own. But there has to be that period. And we want to partner with you during that foundation period so that we can raise children who know, who are guided, and who can navigate on their own. All right, let's look at some of the things that can cause stress in our children because we have just about 8 to 10 minutes before we get off the show for today. All right, now your child could be stressed stress. And these are some of the things that could cause stress in your home. All right. When your home is a home where the child is constantly being criticized, that is number one. When a child is constantly being criticized, and one of the reasons that will lead to that system where your child is constantly being criticized is that one, the parent is not taking their time to teach the child all that the child needs to know. Okay, we say that you cannot make demands of a child. You cannot have expectations from a child of something that you have not taught the child. Now, a lot of us who have refused to accept that intentional parenting is a thing are parents who think that our children should have sense enough to know their left from their right. So we say these things: who taught me? Okay, why should I teach them everything? Who taught me? But the truth about it is, you need to, before your child has an experience of a thing, the child knows nothing about that thing. Now, if you are not creating that experience in an effective way or in the right way, then the child may be getting that experience from some other person. And the way the child learns or gets that experience from some other person may not be excellent. What do I mean when I say experience? Experience is anything in this life that you get to know. For instance, brushing your teeth is an experience. The child saw someone do it for the first time one day, and that could have been you when you were brushing your teeth before the child even had a single tooth on their gum. All right, so that could be you. Now, the moment your child has watched you do that, that has become an experience, because very early in their life, between 0 and 3, 0 and 5, the child is soaking up everything in their environment: the sounds, the taste, the smell, everything that their senses can take in is being soaked in from their environment. So the child is getting experiences from that environment. Now, if these experiences will take root in the child, and if these experiences will be effective in the child's life, it's going to be dependent on how much practice and how much consistency, okay, and deliberateness or intentionality goes into that experience. So if you have taught your child, or your child has seen you brush your teeth, and all of that, and you don't take the time to say, all right, come, let me show you, let me model to you how to do it. All right, let me model to you how to do it. Okay. And then you go up, down, and then you go to the side, up, down, up, down. Now, when you take that time and you go through that process, this is you modeling to the child. And modeling is one of the best ways to teach. There is that saying that says, tell me and I will forget. Show me and I may remember. Involve me and I will learn. So when you involve the child in that experience, or when you involve the child in practicing and repeating that experience, you teach the child how to, and you make the child gain mastery in that area. This is the reason you go to school. This is the reason for the apprenticeship system. This is the reason that when you get the job, a new job, you go in there and you understudy or you train under someone. This is the reason you go to your new job and you have a boss, and one day you take the seat of that boss, because it is believed that you have worked under the boss, you have learned the ropes, of the job in that department, and you have grown over time in that department by way of experience. So you see what we're saying? Experience. We see these things, we encounter these things, we talk about these things every day, but we do not know. Good morning, Esther. How are you doing? We do not know how to apply these things in our everyday lives. And that is one of the problems with our education in this part of the world, where we go and we use terminologies and definitions and all of that. But when it comes to practical experience, we don't know how to take all that we have learned in the classroom and apply them in our everyday life. I hope you know And education in a classroom is a vertical kind of education where you learn from someone who has learned that thing, and then they have taught you and all of that. But there are other levels of education. Now, experiencing it is another level, is a higher level of education. So if you are not creating experiences for your child and you are not practicing and committed, and of course being consistent with those experiences, then you are not teaching your child at a higher level. All right. So you have brushed your teeth and the child has experienced you brushing your teeth. The day you decide, okay, I'm going to show you how to do it, because excellence is a thing for you, effectiveness is a thing for you. That day is when you have brought your child to the place of a higher level of learning. And then the more you keep doing this and practicing it, is how the child becomes, better and better and better in it, until the child gets to the point where the child is a master in that thing. But mastery takes time. Do you understand? Mastery takes time. So yes, the first thing we want to do is if we do not teach the children, or we do not show them how to do things, all right, then they end up, and we have not been consistent, and we're not being patient enough, and we've not been empathetic enough. What will happen is we will constantly see the situation where the children are either not doing it well, or the children are not doing it enough because they've not practiced it enough to the point where it has become a part of them, where they've internalized it. Now, because of this, we find ourselves constantly berating the children, criticizing the children, and then that is one way that our children get stressed. Another way is we not take it a notch from just criticizing them and talking, all right, to the point where we begin to hit them. When you beat your children, when you actually beat your children up, that is a major stress factor in your home. That's a major stress factor that can affect your child. So beating the child can actually lead to stress. So for parents, who are constantly wielding the cane, you are actually making your child stressed. All right. When children move into a new environment, when your child moves into a new school, when your child moves into a new country, when your child moves into a new town, that could be a stress factor also for your child. I remember one day I was having a session and I was talking about, I think that session was about cultural intelligence or something like that, and I dared to go to that place where a lot of us do not want the jackpot thing. And I mentioned the fact that when we jackpot with our children and we do not prepare them for the jackpot process, okay, we do not prepare them by way of calming their nerves, teaching and letting them know what to expect, by way of letting the child see what is coming. Simulating the child for what is ahead of the child, what the child is likely going to experience or encounter in their new environment, simulating the child for the cultural shock that will come, okay, simulating the child for probably the biases that the child may encounter in their new environment. If you do not take time to take your child through these processes of the possible outcomes, what you have done is you are going to just lift the child and drop them in a place that can be, or in many cases, becomes a stress factor for the child. So that's what I was trying to talk about. And I had someone come at me with her whole energy like, hey, you are not being fair to, all kinds of nastiness, okay? But then again, I hope you are listening to me right now, you know what I'm talking about. There is just that need to prepare people mentally for what is coming at them, or what it is that they may experience, right, in that new place. So yes, our children get stressed when they get into a new school. For one, they are going to get into a system where all of a sudden they don't know anybody. They're going to go into a system where all of a sudden they need to learn a new way, a new language, a new way of acting. It's all going to be different from what it is. So this can actually constitute stress for the child. All right. So that's it. When children move to a new place, a new environment, and all of that, all right, that can actually constitute, stress for the child. All right. When children go through family problems, all right, when families are unstable, all right, when you have cases of separation, you have cases of divorces, in some cases, just being in a home that is chaotic, with the parents constantly at each other's neck, the parents not resolving their issues quietly without the children being, a part of it, that could be a really, really serious stress factor for your child. All right. All right. The next one is a new member in the family. You'll be amazed, but that could be a stress factor for your toddlers, for your young children, especially, the way it is. Some of us have them, 1 year between them, 1.5 year between them, and all of that. So for your toddler, for your young child, the entrance the entrance of a new member, like a new child in the system, all right, can actually be a stress factor, because at this point, the child is not going to have your attention. Mommy, perhaps most times it will be mommy's, right? So this is a child that you probably had sleeping on your bed. You slept on the same bed. You were there hugging and cuddling and kissing them all the time. You went for every play date with them. You went out every time. You did this, you did that. You were together. The child could do this and be sure that you always be there. Now, all of a sudden, there is a new child, or there's another person in the dynamics, and this person is taking all of your attention. All right. So for your toddler, even sometimes for your young children, they may not, be able to get it. They may not understand it because they are not in that place to understand these things on their own. Now, if we don't take time, if you take these things for granted, then yes, it could be a stress factor. A new member in the family could cause stress. Exactly. All right. So that's another factor that could cause stress in your family. All right. Now, I've talked about school, right? I've talked about school, location, and all of that. That falls into that. I've talked about, a new member in the family and all of that. That could cause stress. Another thing that could cause stress is academic work, right? Load and expectations. So when your child is, especially when the child has not been given a solid foundation, and all of a sudden there is the demand for the child to do well in a certain way. And this could be even for your child who is doing well, even for your child that seems to be doing well, that trophy child, as Coach Wendy loves to call it. For your trophy child, your child who is excellent in school, the child who is a high flyer, the child who is always top in school, and all of that. Now, you may not know this, but it could get to a point where your child begins to exert their own pressure on themselves because of the expectations that you have of them. It is really dicey. All right. And this one can actually go unrecognized. At some point on my journey, I had to stop and do an evaluation to be sure that I was not driving any one of my kids, especially my first. I had to stop to evaluate. All right. With the help of my coach, or with the help of my mentor, I had to stop, because she had to say stop and look at it, be sure, because on this journey, you must have the ability to pause and evaluate, pause and review what it is that you are doing. That is why we said there's a need for collaboration. There's a need for partnership. There's a need for you to be in a community that there is higher knowledge, a community that there are shared interests and community learning. This is why you need a community. In parenting, it still takes a village to raise a child. That village today may not be your village in Ogoja, like me. It may not be that village in Onitsha. It may not be that village, but you can still have your village right where you are. your community of friends, your tribe, right? And of course, your intentional community of parents. Because you could have a community, you could have a tribe or a bunch of friends who are not even on the same page with you. So why don't we start first by getting yourself in the community? And that will help you see the people in your immediate environment, for example, your tribe of friends and the people that you spend your time with. All right. So these are very important things on this our parenting journey. All right. You must get to that place. So yes, you may be putting pressure. And if I didn't have someone who could say to me, stop and look at this, I probably wouldn't have stopped to look at it. And I probably wouldn't have made it something for us to stop and look at as a family. All right. So when you evaluate, you may find out that, okay, you are not there yet. But you could see signs that, oh, you're already getting there. Or you could even see signs that you are already driving your child. So your child becomes a performer. Your child becomes a performer. The child is not living. The child is performing for you. And no, your child, you are not a circus. Your home is not a circus. So you cannot be raising children who are performing in your home. You are supposed to raise people who are living their best life, who are living exuberantly. You're supposed to raise children who are living exuberantly and, of course, living within their top potential. That's the whole idea. The whole idea is not to drive people. So when we come with all those, the person that got first in your class, the person, does he have two heads? Pressure, stress. Oh, this is pressure, stress everywhere. So we need to be sure that on our own as parents, we are not pressuring our children and making our children stressed with our expectations. I said at the beginning, the way to go about these things is to ensure that you are teaching, to ensure that you have taught, to ensure that you have done your due diligence and you have done your part and that you are constantly doing your part. It is only when you have taught a skill and you have honed that skill or you have helped the child to practice that skill consistently that you can sit and cross your leg and be making demands. But we don't do this a lot of the times. And what we do is now we begin to stress the child, shouting, yelling, beating, complaining, criticizing, judging. What that leads to is stress. And that stress will show as anxiety. We're going to stop here today because this show is a short show. We come in here for 15 to 30 minutes and we deliver it hot, so that we can begin to look at the things in our home that we can begin to change immediately. As I said, these questions come from questions that parents are constantly helping us or asking us. So if you have questions, please reach out. We are on Facebook. We are on Instagram. We are on YouTube. By the way, if you are watching right now on our YouTube channel and you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Why don't you go ahead and click the subscribe button and subscribe? Then you can now hit the notification. So every time we go live or we come live, you can see us. And you can also drop your questions under any of our posts. And who knows, that question could be the next question that we are answering on the show. Because our job is to identify the challenges that parents have. Our job is to identify the things that could hinder our young children and our preteens. Our job is to create solutions for these problems so that we can equip our young children and our preteens, so that we can empower them for a time where they become teenagers. We want to raise productive teenagers. We want to launch out our children as productive teenagers, as teenagers who are empathetic, teenagers who are productive, teenagers who know how to engage in positive things, teenagers who can take initiative, teenagers who are already impacting the world at their level. This is our job, and this is what we do in the mastermind circle. We want to equip your preteens in a way that by the time they step into their teenage, dear mama, dear daddy, you will be resting, you will be chilling. I'm not joking. I have a 14-year-old, and I can tell you, on a scale of 1 to 10, I am resting at a level 8. It is not bragging. I am resting, and the work doesn't end. We will continue to do the work. But you see, the kitty that the average parent is running with their teenager, I am not running that. And this is me. I am not even close to excellence. I am not, perfection is not even a goal. We're not even chasing perfection. Who is that for? Who is perfection for? We are not even trying to chase perfection. We are just present enough to continue to see what are the gaps, what are the gaps. Oh, this is the new gap. We go there and then we begin to work. And then we finish that. We can anticipate there will be another gap. Where is it? It's a social skill. We are there. Okay, what's the next gap? Oh, this child is stressed. What's causing the stress? We are there. This is it. But if you are not in that space, then you are not even able to understand what is happening around you. How are you going to fill the gaps? These are the pertinent questions that we need to ask in parenting. So yes, don't skip your 5 and 7-month-old child. If your child is going to be 6 by January of 2025, then don't keep them at home. Your home is too small. Don't leave your children less than 14. It's too small. Okay. And apart from that, you need them where we can partner with you closely to help them build the right foundation. Now we can launch them as teenagers and we can hit our chest and say, we have empowered a solid teenager. And then they can go on and begin to, learn more and build on the foundation that we have created already. Okay? If the foundation is wrong, now, if the foundation is wrong, dear parents, complete it for me. I'll see you for the second part of this episode tomorrow, where we will be looking at what we can do as parents to help our children who are stressed already. How we can identify if our children are stressed. What are the things that we can do to support them at this point? Have a fantastic day, dear parents. I'll see you tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. again when we come for another episode of the show, How Can I Support My Child? If you'd like your child to be a part of the Mastermind Circle, our new cohort begins on September 1st, 2024. Why don't you go ahead and book a slot right away for your child to join us, to join this vibrant community? We're not even joking. Vibrant community. All right, do that. And yes, we have an amazing book challenge that is coming up in August. We are already enrolling to be a part of that. You can actually get into the wait list for the book challenge. If you have children from 0 to 13, this book challenge is for you. We are here ready to have a fun filled summer holiday where our children will be reading every day. Yes, they will read every day with fun activities. Reading every day. Fun activities is just going to be such an amazing time. You don't want to miss it. All right, so we have the information here, or check at the end of this, check in the comment section or in the description on YouTube, and you will see the link to just click and join the wait group for the book challenge for 0 to 13 years old. And of course, if you like to be a part of the Mastermind Circle, just screen grab the information right on the screen and use that to join our vibrant community. Thank you very much. We will see you again tomorrow. Have a blessed day. Bye. I'm signing out.